Hello. Welcome to a new Rockabot class. In today's class, we're going to look at the read Excel and read XLSX commands. Alright, we've already mentioned the differences between each one. Let's see how it works. In this case, reading the data means we need to read the file, in this case the sheet that we have. For example, we have this sample sheet, and as we can see, it has 6 rows of data, and I obviously want to get this range that goes from A2 to D6 in this case. Alright, so let's close this and let's do the following. Let's open this file right now. Wait for it to load, we open it, wait for it to open properly, check it, and it opened correctly. Alright, let's go ahead and read it. We're going from A2 to D6, as we said, and we're going to store it in the variable datos. Okay, if I run this, you'll see that in datos we'll be able to see exactly all the data we have, which was extracted correctly. Now, there's a mistake here, a small error that, if you notice, here we see that we have a fixed range. In other words, if somehow this data range increases, that is, if we're going to have more rows, if we're going to have data in the next rows, I'm only going to get this specific range of rows because the data is fixed. So, how do I make that data dynamic? Alright, let's come here and count the rows. Okay, we're going to store this value in the variable feelers and run it. As you can see, we've extracted the rows, there are 6, and here what I need to do is replace the D6 with the value from feelers. This means that let's clear, for example, this one. If I run it now, we'll see that it extracts the data I wanted to extract, and now I can rest assured that if at any point this Excel file gets more data, since I'm reading the data that Excel has, whether it has 6 rows like in this case, or 20, or 1,000,000, it won't matter to me because it will always read the rows of data that are in that Excel file. So, it's going to get that number, and since I've set it up here with the variable rows that changes according to the data rows it contains, I can be sure that it will always extract all possible data. Alright, now let's see what happens. Let's close this here. Let's see what happens with XLSX. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to use the open file command. And if you notice, when I run this file, Excel doesn't open, which means it doesn't work with the application running in the background. That's important for anyone who doesn't have Excel installed or doesn't have an activated version of Excel. This can be useful for Mac or Linux users, as well as for those on Microsoft who don't have Excel activated. In other words, there's a common question that comes up here, which is, what happens if I have Excel but it's not activated? That is, I can't manipulate it. I can't do anything with it except open it. Well, no, nothing happens because you have the option to do it using the native Excel command, which is File, Open File XLSX, and with this you avoid the problem of activation or even not having Excel installed. Alright, so let's do the same thing and count the rows. We're going to save this in the variable feelers, the feelers variable. Let's see what number 6 extracts, and in datos we're going to read precisely from A2 to D and the number of rows, remember. And we're going to store this in the variable that. As you can see, when I extract, it automatically brings me all the data from that Excel file. Alright, I hope this was helpful and I'll see you in the next class. Thank you very much.